I'm Susan Harris. I am the Education Director at the Kingston YMCA Farm Project, but I also am an adjunct professor and the internship coordinator for the Geography Department at Suny Paltz. And I teach a class, a citizen science class in the Education Department at Suny Paltz on Mondays. So we come every Monday for about 8 weeks to Black Creek, and we do a citizen science project counting the glass eels that have come into the Hudson River after a year-long journey from the Sargasso Sea. The purpose of the class is to connect college students with middle school or high school students to learn and teach each other. We come to the creek, we open up the net, we get out any of the living creatures that are in there.
I see your hand in there. Okay, well there's one.
Sometimes it can be fish, macroinvertebrates, glass eels, elvers. What we need to do is separate out 20 glass eels to weigh. Only the glass eels, only 20. We put them in the buckets, we count them, we weigh them, we record weather and temperature and any other little creatures we find, and we send all of that information to the New York State DEC. So glass eels are typically translucent because they want to be camouflaged when they're out in the Atlantic Ocean. And elvers, so glass eels are just arriving. Elvers arrived last year or 2 or 3 years ago. They're bigger, they're darker, and they have been living in Black Creek or the Hudson River for the last few years, but they're still, pretty small in comparison to what we'd think. And their pigment has changed to a darker color so that they can be camouflaged in to this environment. The American eel living here either in the Hudson River or in its tributaries, the females can grow up to 3 feet and live here for up to 30 years. And the males will live here up to about 10 years, and they're about half the size of the females. So eels are sort of the top of the food chain, and I would call them a keystone species because they have so many effects on the entire food web of an ecosystem. So, people eat them, birds eat them, other fish eat them, depending on their, their life cycle, where they are in their life cycle. They feed on all sorts of things in the creek, so there's a huge dependence on them in this food web here. They're also a huge economic driver. They're a fish, and they are used, if you ever eat unagi at a sushi restaurant, you're eating American eels.